And we're gonna have to stop looking at church as this nostalgic place where I go out and I meet friends who are Christians and start looking at it as a community that is genuinely living on mission, changing our culture, because people are dying spiritually, man. They are dying. And no one does anything about it. And we try, we try, but it won't really change until you and I say, God, use me, not someday in the future when I got all my act together, but today. Today. We turn intentions into actions. We turn when into now. The last thing I'm going to share, I'm going to invite the band to come up here. Number 3, that we're going to turn my whole heart toward Jesus. I love Mark chapter 12. Mark chapter 12, there's this passage where they challenge Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? And you guys know this. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and being, and love your neighbor as yourself. And he says, those are the 2. And the guy responds, well, yeah, that's great. I totally agree. And Jesus says this line that says, verse 34, when Jesus saw that he had answered wisely, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. And from then on, no one dared to ask him any questions. And I always read that as like, yeah, you got it right. You were listening. And I do think some of that's going in, and I don't want to read too much into this passage, but I do find it interesting. He says, you're not far from the kingdom of God. While other times he's proclaiming the kingdom of God is at hand. It's almost as if, yeah, you have the knowledge, but you're not living it. And I'm afraid that there will be a lot of Christians in our society today that are not far from the kingdom of God. They know Jesus, they love him, they have salvation, and they're going to heaven when they die, but the actions just don't follow suit. And they're just wasting the time that God has given us on this planet to do something about it. Look at verse 15 in James chapter 4 as we close out. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. To say, God, my plans, I don't want them to be my plans. I want to be your plans. Make your desires my desires. I surrender my will to you. That's not easy. It's saying, I don't feel like loving this person anymore, but I'm going to learn how because I know that's your will for my life.